These are some, these are some of the pictures that I did. As you can see, each one is slightly different because with alcohol ink, you can really play and get a little bit of everything just by playing. This one to me reminded me of body cells. So I'm going to show you, I don't know how many of you got the kit. I'm going to try and go slowly. Normally I do this in person, so it's a little bit different for me to do this online, but I'll try and go step by step for you all. But with your kit, you get the alcohol ink, you get the Yupa papers, which are basically thin sheets of plastic. You get your inks. You get your extender, and your extender is alcohol plus glycerin, and that's what makes the alcohol spread around like this. And the neat thing about that is if you don't like what you've got, you can just keep working with it, different colors and different extenders, and that's what makes it spread. And that's what I'll be showing you today, how to do things differently until you like what you've got. And some of the things that you can do it on, name tags. And these are from Michael's.
Dawn, we already have a question.
Okay.
Somebody wants to know, where do you pick up the kits?
The kit is over at Joann's and at Michael's, and it's $25 or $24.99. And of course, they have the coupons. So you usually can get anywhere from 20 to 30% off. And it comes with your stamp pad, your stamping, I don't know what you would call them, your inks, your extender, your Yupa paper, and directions that are totally useless. And that's why I prefer playing. Oh, and your stamp to make a card, and different stamps. So you can make a card, or, you know, basically whatever you want to do with them. I have, I've been doing Stampin' Up, so I've got a lot of my own stamps as well. I'm not really big on, well, I love Paris, but I'm not sure I know what to do with a card with that. Michael's has the largest selection of inks, and they're packaged in three, anywhere from $11.99 to $13.99. And the reason they package them in three is those colors go together, but you can go wild. I mean, I kind of went a little bit crazy and bought different colored greens because I wanted to do something with cool colors. And that's with this. And then I wanted to do something with warm colors, and that was with this. And then this I put two from to do tags. So you can make your own birthday tags or your Christmas tags. But with this, what you do is you take the pad, and it's got Velcro on it, and you stick it on. And you can actually get quite a few uses out of it. And I'll show you what to do with it. This is an old one that I've kept because I can still use it. And that's how I actually got the background for this one. And I know it doesn't look like there's a background there, but there is. And that's the same on this. And I tried different materials to give you a good idea of what you can do with it. This is the paper that I got at Michael's, and these are the tags that I used. And they're called etiquette tags, 2" by 4.25, and they're 20 in there, and they're really heavy duty. And the reason you want heavy duty is because, as you can see, it does go through. And when we get to them, I'll explain why it goes through. And then anyone who's gotten that photo paper for your printer, this is your glossy photo paper. And this is stamped with this. And as you can see, I got a different texture on here. And I'm going to show you how to do all this. I just wanted to show you what you can do with it first. But anything that has a glossy finish on it is what you can stamp. Then we have, and we can play with this, but here's a glass vase. And after you finish with it, then you use, I just scraped my finger on it. Then you use a Krylon, which is a fixative spray, and that's a K, Krylon, and you can get that at any hardware store. I found that this is not as easy to work with round, so I got a square one today over at an estate sale. And then if you want to make tiles for your kitchen or bathroom, you can do that. Again, this is a glossy finish. And again, to protect it, because every time you drop a fixative alcohol on it, it's going to start spreading around again. This I would put an epoxy finish. Let me go get that to show you. And that you can get at Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby. And that runs about $12 or $13. And epoxy, this is a high gloss resin. This seals things, and you can see some of the things that they've sealed. And it's really popular right now. And it's a two-part mix. And then, let's see, what else do I have here? Oh. Then I thought I'd try it on something that was like a thick paper, but not really glossy, and that's with a stamp. So you can even do it on that. So those of you who make cards, you can do this kind of stamping with the ink, and you can still get an effect that you like. And then here's another on the Yupa paper, a larger size. It comes in 2 different sizes. As I said, it's basically a very thin sheet of plastic. And this is when I went wild. I love purples and blues. So when I went wild with the colors after I got bored with the kit that the colors came with. And then you can draw on it. This is that canvas, that inexpensive canvas. And believe it or not, your Sharpie pens are alcohol ink. And that's what I drew after I did the ink. Obviously, I need to work a little bit more to get a better looking flower. And that takes practice, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. You know, just playing around and doing that with your pen. And this is what I did on glass, where I actually burned it. This is the back of it. And then this is the front. And I can hang it in the window like stained glass. Now you don't do the burning, and I will show you the burning technique. That's why one of the supplies was a butane lighter. You don't do the burning when you put the gold on. You put the gold, copper, or silver, and you can see it there after you've done the burning. So this is glass. Can you all see that? And then this is just straight acrylic. So
Yes,
you see the colors are a lot brighter on the acrylic. And what you can do on the acrylic is have cut into squares like coasters, and do your colors and do your resin, and then just put your cork or felt underneath, and you've got coasters. And I thought that came out really pretty. The other thing I thought of doing for this was maybe cutting it in half and drilling holes in the bottom and hanging wind chimes and having a chain go on top. So you have a pretty wind chime. But again, you're going to have to seal it. The Krylon or the resin epoxy would do good. So that kind of covers a lot of the different materials that you can use that really aren't covered at all in your directions. So to get started, does anyone have any questions before I move on? Amy?
Go ahead and type your questions in the chat as soon as you have a question. And just a reminder for those of you who came in late, we are recording this today. So if you don't want to appear in the recording, you can turn your camera off. And as you type your questions in, I'll read them out.
Another material, you know those picture frames that you can hang up on your refrigerator? You put the little kid's picture frame in. You can put a little bit on that. And you can also put it on whiteboards. Again, it's glossy. So we're going to start with some Yucca paper. As soon as I find where I put it, there it is. I give you a nice pack. I mean, there's 10 in a pack. So for $25, you get quite a lot. So I was impressed with how much we got. And it's actually opaque. It's not glossy, and it has a strange feel to it. So what we're going to do is, and I like to leave the tops open. We're just going to use the kit colors right now. Oh, if you spill ink on you, I would recommend gloves. It takes a while to get it out. It looked like I was bleeding because I had spilled red ink on my fingers and it went into my cuticles. And I have this hand sanitizer, kills 99.9% germs, but it took about a week and a half of spraying it on my cuticles before the alcohol, the red came off. And every time I went somewhere saying, oh, how horrible, how did you cut yourself? So if you're clumsy, I would recommend that you wear gloves.
Dawn, is it important to shake the bottles?
Not yet. These you don't have to shake, and it's a good question. The gold and the silver and the copper you do, and you can hear it. Hear that ball in there? If you never, your spray paint, you have to shake it until you hear that ball. This is the same thing. And it tells you on here to do that, thankfully. It says shake bottle. It's in really small letters, so if you're old and wear bifocals like I do, you might miss that, but I think the directions also tell you to shake it. And I have these on really tight because a friend of mine, as you can see how messy these are, a friend of mine did not put the tops on really tight. And that's how I ended up with red and blue ink all over my hands. So I make sure they're extra tight. And because I use so much fixative, thankfully, Michael sells a large bottle. I don't remember how much this was, but it's 2 fluid ounces. And this has lasted me quite a few months. So we'll start with just a drop of blue. And I use a metal straw that has a curve on it. And it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, we did painting. And that's as far as it goes, in part because alcohol dries really fast. So if you want it to move, you drop the fixative in and see how it changes not only color because it's thinning out, but it starts moving around. And then you can blow some more. And you can even, if you have more fixative on it, it'll drip down. But you see how it got lighter where I had more fixative. It's still a little bit wet, but it dries really fast. And whatever, oh, I have to warn you, I've got dogs, so if you hear barking, just ignore them.
We have another question.
Yep.
Is it fixative or extender that you're
Oh,
using?
it's extender, but it also kind of fixes it. It's alcohol blending solution is the actual name. And you
Thank
see it's going down like that. And you can do that.
We can't really see it. You're holding it too high. There you go.
And you get interesting effects.
That's cool.
And if you don't like that, you can take your and do that. And then you get your other color. And because that extender is still in there, you start getting different effects. They don't tell you this in the directions. And again, and I like to have cardboard or, you know, a puppy pad will work, cardboard, foil. And because this picks up some of that extender, you're starting to bring it over into here and you're giving it texture. So you're doing that. And then you let it dry a little bit. So I think, oh, this is a little bit too dark for me. So I'm going to lighten that up. And I've got texture. Well, I really don't like this that much, so I'm going to give that a little bit of texture. See how you can just keep changing until you like it? And that's basically what the Yupa paper does. And say, well, I kind of like that. Let me leave it alone for a little bit. And I'm going to work on a tag. And that's why I like to have a lot of things here that I can work on. And the reason I want to go over the tags is it's kind of a reverse way of doing things. And this was from playing with it. With the tag, you put the blending solution on first and then your alcohol ink. Otherwise, it goes all the way through and doesn't take. So I'm going to put the ink on there. I mean, the extender, and then I'm going to put the ink on. And I'll stamp it a little bit. And I'm going to put more extender. Whoops, I think I'm out of extender. You notice it has very, very, very small tip because you don't need a lot. I'm going to add green because I like green and purple and blue. See, it's changing color up there. And this is nice for your kids to make as a craft for Christmas. I'm gonna go a little psychedelic here with the colors. See, it goes all the way through if you don't put that solution on, the blending solution. And there you have a tag. And you can play around with it and make it look whatever way you want. I had another one around here somewhere. Oh, see this one. If you like the way that looks, you can leave the white space. You don't have to do anything more with it, or you can fill it like I did with this one. And what you can do with this is actually cut it out. And Joann's and Hobby Lobby and Michael's sells those wooden boxes. You can stain and inset this on the top and you have a decorative box. I tried with wood. What I think I'm going to have to do is paint it white or put gesso on it, which is a sealant. It didn't come out that well. I think it just came out too dark because the wood absorbed it. But they do say you can't see already. I've got the ink. Put that aside for the moment. I'll show you with the straw. Now, if you go on Google and put alcohol inks in, there's one man who has a free book. I think it's like 24 pages. And he gives a lot of suggestions and ideas. And then there's a woman who uses a hair dryer and she just moves everything around. And then she adds lines with those paint pens and basically does drawings. And then others use the straw. Just keep going back and forth, trying to control it. Oh, when you use a straw, don't spit.
Are you on Yupo paper now, Dawn?
No, I'm on that silver paper used for scrapbook. Because it's got that coating on it.
It looks like it doesn't really want to go beyond where the extender is. It's
That's
harder.
because I'm not blowing really hard.
This looks like it might be fun, like making a big abstract shape and then seeing something in it like a creature or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a Rorschach.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid doing just regular watercolor and getting lightheaded, spreading the straw.
We have a question from someone. Why not use a brush?
We can do that. I have a brush here. And that's what it does.
So it kind of takes the color out.
Yep.
Lifts it out.
I haven't tried on Yupo. Let's try it on that. Let's see, where is it? There it is.
What if you, can you paint it directly on with a brush instead of dripping it on?
Well, I got it wet because the ink had already dried.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, you can. It would have to be the Yupo paper. So there you go with the brush.
That's pretty.
In fact, there's they're putting out, I think it's Cricut is putting out paper that looks a lot like the Yupo prints, the abstract that my friend is using making cards. I love how it spreads because you're never quite sure what effect you're going to get. I'm going to drop in here and watch what it does. Isn't that neat?
Yeah. I think it'll be okay if anybody has a question to go ahead and unmute yourself and speak your question if you're not comfortable typing it.
You see this whole affect changed. I never opened this to do a stamp because I've got all my stamping stuff. I have 2 craft rooms in the house. I see how much that's changed now just by putting the extender on.
Do these things have an odor?
A little bit. I mean, I'm in a really open area, but I haven't really noticed one.
Is it important to be in a ventilated area?
I would say probably just a nice sized room. I mean, if I inhale the blending solution, it does have alcohol in it. So you are smelling the alcohol. But beyond that, if you don't mind the smell of rubbing alcohol, I mean, it's not as bad as the resin, which I used to use in a closed dorm room until I got thrown out. Okay, you see how much this has changed just by letting it dry and then doing some, and I said, oh, I don't really like that dark in there. Are you able to see how it changes?
Yeah.
So you can actually take a paint pen and draw flowers or whatever figures in there.
Someone's asking, can you use 90+ alcohol solution as an extender?
Well, it's got glycerin in it. Of course, it's flammable. As I said before, surprised I never blew my house up. It's got ethanol, glycol, ethyls, and isopropanol. Fumes may cause flash fires. But most artist materials are pretty toxic anyway. So I'm always very careful when I do any artwork. I wanted to show you, I wanted to show you on glass. This is the one where, where's my foil? This is the one where I was going to use the butane lighter. I'll let this dry. I used a heat gun, you know, that you use for rubber stamps when you do embossing, but I really didn't like the results. It dried too fast. Okay, I'm going to put the ink. Can you see it? Is that better?
But we can see it.
Okay. This I've got a hanging frame, so it's there are 3 in a row. So I'm going to hang them up in the window. So it'll catch the sunlight. Okay, this is where I move everything out of the way. It's flammable. Come on. Well, good thing I bought a new one. Okay, I'm back. Setting the house on fire.
Now, why are you doing that?
I'm setting the ink on fire to burn up the alcohol.
Oh,
One of the books suggested you do this in your grill.
Huh.
I have my fan going, so it's probably not helping. But this sets it.
does it change the colors?
It darkens them a little bit. So this is going to hang in a frame, hanging up on a window with 2 others. You see with this small piece of glass, it picks up the color really nicely. So, well, you know, I'm not too fond of that, so I think I'll add some green. Remember, it's glass you're working with. The big piece of glass that I showed you, I forgot it was glass and I sliced my fingers. Milo, go downstairs. Just give it a little spritz. Lighten it up a little bit.
What are you spritzing it with?
It's just regular
Oh.
alcohol. You want to hold it up too much, but see how much it lightened it?
Mhm. So does the flame just speed the drying up, or?
Yep, the flame dries it and sets it.
And if you don't use the flame, it's never really set?
It sets, but it's different. This is just a quick way of doing it and just another method. As I say, I like to play.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how I came up with this, but probably in some of my readings, I like to do research too. It's a little bit wet down there. Also keep napkins or paper towels around because it drips. Oh, come on. Now I can't work the lighter. All right, now I want to add a little bit of gold. The gold doesn't spread as well because it's metallic. As you see, you have to shake it a lot to get it out. And that's what it looks like done. Still has to dry a little bit because of the gold. I think this is dry now. Yep. So I'm going to take the rubber stamp. Small one. I think they have a butterfly that comes with it. This is my thanks. And there's my card. Or I can just cut this out and use it on, and put parchment over it. You'll fold a piece of vellum, and put this on the inside. And oh, cat, gotta go, and make a card with it. Come on. Sorry, we have cats and dogs and birds and turtles and God knows what else. And let's see. On the vase, there any questions so far?
We don't have any more in the chat. Does anybody have any questions? You could just unmute yourself and speak.
found it easier to go down instead of around because it kept shifting. And
So
I'm
is,
not,
I'm sorry, is it possible to use alcohol ink to paint realistically, or is it just for
yes, you
abstract?
can. That's one of the things, if there's a lot of them on Pinterest. And also if you go on Google and just type in alcohol ink, there's several artists that have really gone above and beyond where I am now. I'm still trying to get a grasp of controlling it, but I'm also more of an organic type person where kind of where it flows. Most of my work is more organic, color wise and shape wise. But yes, you can. There's one woman who works beautifully with a hairdryer. It's unbelievable. I think it's like a 15-20 minute visual where she's just constantly moving the hairdryer around back and forth. And she gets this long, I don't know, whatever, looks almost like a branch. And then she paints in details, and it's this gorgeous flowering branch. That's the latest that I can remember. I've been trying to do that, but you have to use a hairdryer on low, and it has to have that diffuser on it, and a lot of patience and a lot of practice. And right now, this is about as controlled as I've been able to get with where I want things. And, just basically playing. And for this class, what I wanted to do is get you introduced to what alcohol ink can do and what mediums you can use it on, because the directions don't even cover half of that. They basically say, open it up and drop the ink on, drop the extender on, and have fun. And I knew there were more mediums that you could do it on. For example, they didn't even recommend something like this. And I was able to successfully do that. They did recommend tile, and they did say glossy paper, but I basically went and tried to get as many different mediums to give you as much of a variety to play with, just to basically have fun and get your hands dirty, so to speak. So yeah, you can decorate wine glasses. You can paint wine glasses. You do have to seal them, though. There's a different method of sealing, and I believe those were in the instructions this gentleman wrote. I can't remember his name. I would have to look it up and get back to Amy for you, because there's different methods of sealing different kinds of material. So, no. So this gives you an idea of, you're not stuck with just the Yupa paper, but you can use the plastic, you can use tiles, you can use the paper, you can use the printing paper from your printer. You can frame them, you can hang it up. I mean, this something with a frame on it, hang in a window, and just
You can't see that. You're holding it.
sorry. You put this in a frame and hang it in the window, and put some beads hanging on it, and it's a nice gift. It's something quick and easy, a child can make, or you can make for Christmas presents, and it's not expensive. It's not time consuming, and you get a pretty effect, and it's unusual. So that was kind of my goal for today, was to give you an idea of where you could go with it.
Does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourselves. So we have one question. Do you need to burn all glass pieces?
No, you don't have to burn them at all. Just gives a different effect. And I didn't burn the acrylic, and it came out just as nice.
You can't burn the acrylic, it'll just melt it, right?
Well, it'll melt, but I mean, it came out
Oh,
just
that's
as
really
nice.
Yeah. But then you have to seal that.
Well, if you don't frame it, if you don't have anything behind it to protect it, yes, you do have to seal it. You know, if you have it just hanging up. That's why I said it, my idea with this was to cut it. You can cut this in fours and make coasters and then just glue, you can like spray Krylon on the back and then glue felt or cork on the back. This was just a spare junk piece of acrylic that I happen to have, and it worked out so well. I love the colors on it. I love playing with colors just to see what they'll do.
Cool.
Burning is just another method. And I think with this going down looks a lot better than going across. And if I don't like this, I can just take it off. Hey! Stop. I think I can just wipe this off actually, if I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yep. This is why you seal it. So if you don't like it, just take it right off. And that's why you have to seal it.
So Dawn, do you happen to know if India ink is an alcohol-based ink?
India ink is similar, but you can't use it for this. That's for calligraphy and pen and ink drawing. It's a different type of ink. I used that when I did my pen and ink drawings. It's a different consistency.
So I like to draw ink drawings with Pitt pens, P-I-T-T.
Yep.
And they're waterproof. But then I added, or I had written some things with those in a journal, and I was trying to highlight them, and they smeared. And I think my highlighter pens were alcohol ink pens.
Yep, that
And
could
they
be.
caused the Pitt pens to smear. So does that mean the Pitt pens are alcohol based?
Probably, yes.
I was pretty disappointed in
Yeah,
that.
India ink will not smear or should not smear, which is why you use it for pen and ink drawings.
Well, supposedly the Pitt pens were waterproof, but I guess they weren't alcohol ink proof.
Right. Just like, yeah, if you look at your Sharpie, it says permanent, but it's actually alcohol ink, which I thought was kind of interesting because I wasn't aware of that. But I was able to draw on alcohol ink with it.
Interesting. Anybody else have any questions? This is your chance to ask them.
How many people were actually working along with me today?
I don't know. A lot of people have their cameras off, so I see 3 faces. I see, that's about it. So we did record this today, so if you would like to watch it again, or if you know somebody who would like to see it and wasn't able to come, you can go to the Fairfax County Public Library's YouTube channel and watch it there when it gets posted. I'm not sure when that will be. Oh, that's pretty.
It kind of reminds me of those wine glasses you see over at Pier 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, what I like about it is you can just play and do whatever you want with it.
And then it wipes off if you want
Exactly.
with alcohol.
And this is why I'm. This is why I should wear gloves. You should see me when I do paint pouring.
Oh, now what is paint pouring done with?
Paint pouring is, it's got Floetrol in it. And when you heat it up with a blowtorch or a heat gun, it bursts into cells. I'll send you a couple of pictures. It's another thing I'm working on learning and having fun with. One of the things I want to try is doing it on vases where they have the vase upside down and pour it.
Mm.
And then, so the vase looks like it's got marbling. And then whatever paint's gone on the canvas, then you move that around and it marbleizes and has these cells on the canvas. It's really quite pretty. You can look it up, Google it. Everything, you can Google everything,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Or fortunately, I'm not sure which. Anyway, that about concludes everything. If no one else has any questions.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Dawn. We really appreciated watching you
Have
use
fun.
these inks. Yeah. Hope everybody wants to go out and buy some and try it out. Thank you for coming today. Be sure to check out the library's YouTube channel. There are other arts and crafts things on there. And if you don't know, there's also the Fairfax Arts Collection where you can actually post your work online. And if you can get to that through the Fairfax County Public Library's website. So it's under Fairfax Arts Collection. You look for it in the research center. And there's Dawn. Hello.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thought you got tired of looking at the bottles.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. And hope
It
to
was
see you.
fun,
Yeah. Hope to see you around in the library.
definitely. Or
Okay.
next one would be paint pouring.
All right. We'll have to set that one up.
Sounds good.
We'll be in
Thanks,
touch.
Amy.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.